Plus 49.
Bienvenidos to another episode of Plus 49. My name is Sigrid Arteaga, and this is our 50th episode. We can't hardly believe it ourselves, but here we are, 50 episodes deep into sharing stories, news, culture, and tips for life in Germany. So whether you have been with us from the start or just tuning in recently, we're so glad you're here. And yes, true to both podcast and German tradition, we're taking a moment to celebrate this little Jubiläum. In today's episode, we have packed in a little bit of everything. First up, the latest news from around Germany, including a major court ruling on border pushbacks, updates to asylum and residency laws, and even some potential supermarket drama. Then, in our cultural segment, we dive into the very German habit of celebrating anniversaries, Jubiläen of every size, from 200 years old Sus to 25-year-old Spätis. It turns out that these commemorations aren't just about nostalgia, but they're also about identity, continuity, and sometimes hope. And finally, we sit down with Rouven and David from Talent Berlin. This was such an incredible interview. I hope you enjoyed as much as we did. Talent Berlin is the city's official talent portal. They talk about navigating Germany's recruiting landscape to making your CV stand out. They also share insider tips on finding jobs, understanding world culture, and how this capital, Berlin, is working to attract skilled internationals. So whether you're job hunting, party planning, or just procrastinating doing your Anmeldung, we've got you covered. Here's to 50 and many more. Salud! Let's jump right into this week's news. First up, a Berlin court has ruled that Germany's practice of rejecting asylum seekers at the border is unlawful. The case involves 3 Somali nationals who were turned away at the Polish border in Frankfurt-Oder without any individual review. The court emphasizes that even if someone enters from a so-called safe third country, each asylum claim must be considered. Interior Minister Alexander Dobryn's border policy, justified as a part of a national emergency, was sharply rejected by the court. While Dobryn's vows to continuous pushbacks, critics including Green MP Marcel Emmerich warned that the policy undermines the rule of law and may put police officers in legal jeopardy. Meanwhile, in retail news, Germany's legendary supermarket division might soon end. Aldi Nord and Aldi Süd are reportedly in secret merger talks. The companies, separated since a family split in 1961, already began aligning product lines and making efforts in recent years. A full merger will likely mean even more unified product offerings, but for now, both will continue operating independently. And finally, an update on the Chancenaufenthaltsrecht, a legal pathway introduced in 2022 to give certain long-term tolerated migrants a short and permanent residency. So far, around 84,000 people have received a temporary permit, but just 20% have managed to secure long-term status. A new policy is in development and may offer limited alternatives, but critics says it doesn't go far enough to provide true security for well-integrated migrants. We've officially made it to our 50th episode, and just like Germans, we're taking this as a moment to pause, look back, and yes, celebrate. In Germany, this instinct to commemorate milestones isn't just cultural. It's practically a national tradition. From the 100 years anniversary of Bauhaus to the 60th birthday of the Grundgesetz to the 200 years of the Berlin Zoo, this country is full of plagues, parades, and public programming marking significant dates. Even your local Kiezfest might be celebrating the 25th anniversary of a neighborhood Späti, completely with bratwurst, bunting, and probably a brass band. Especially here in Berlin, there's always some kind of Jubiläum being marked. The U-Bahn line turns 120. Let's have a poster exhibition. The Fernsehturm hits 50. Time for a retro theme party. The Ampelmännchen get a birthday and suddenly there's a theme merch in every tourist shop. Sometimes the celebrations fit a little bit over the top, but they also serve a purpose. And that's the way we're telling stories, creating shared memory and showing that this place, this thing, this idea has lasted. And that's maybe the most German part of it. Endurance or Beständigkeit is something to be admired. Whether it's a business, a bridge, or even a podcast, sticking around counts for something. That being said, Jubiläen aren't just backward phasing. A good anniversary doesn't only ask how did we get here, but also where are we going? That tension between reflection and projection is part of what makes these moments so meaningful. A milestone becomes a mirror. Not only what just already happened, but what is still possible. And in a country that is often cautious about change, these pauses offer a rare chance to take stock and imagine new directions. So as we hit 50, we're letting ourselves enjoy it, but just a little bit. No fireworks, no commemorated mocks. Well, at least not yet. But we're making this occasion all the same. Because, like the Germans, we believe that pausing to honor the journey isn't about showing off. It's about remembering that showing up week after week, it's our own kind of achievement. Here's to 50. And like a proper German Jubiläum, we're planning our centennial in advance. I'm super excited, not only because this is our 50th episode, but also because the people we have with us today are not only part of a great organization, but they understand what internationals are and how complicated it can be to be an international in Germany. And they are actively working on helping us to arrive in Berlin and especially to arrive in Germany and in the workforce. So first of all, David and Rouven Sperling. I hope I said that correctly. Both of you are Germans. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for hosting us.
And let's start with the basics. Where do you work and what is actually Talent Berlin?
May I start, Rouven, and then you can complete. Nice to meet you. Thanks for having us. I'm David, working for the company is called Berlin Partner, which is an investment promotion agency, and usually we attract companies. And Rouven and me, we are working in a team called Talent, and we also do talent attraction for the city of Berlin. That means we approach talents worldwide to come over and do the first or next step in career in Berlin. Very briefly said.
That was very quickly, indeed. It was perfect. I was just, it's very up to the point. We have heard a lot of times that Germans are very efficient, even with the words. So this is Talent Berlin, and this is the best way to describe it. I love it.
Maybe Rouven can go more into detail. So when I just set the frame roughly.
I guess with this more the boring part, describing what Berlin Partner is about.
Okay, so we established you work for Talent Berlin, and you attract people to Berlin specifically. So is there any specific profile of people that the Berlin job market is looking for?
I guess maybe there's also a common misconception that Berlin is only looking for tech workers, I guess. While IT professionals are certainly in high demand, the picture is definitely much broader. We work very closely together with Berlin Chamber of Commerce, employer networks, industry associations, and our data shows clearly gaps in several key sectors, sure. Like healthcare, early childhood education, logistics, hospitality, green technology, skilled trades. But Berlin is definitely not looking for those cookie cutter CVs. I mean, we are a city that embraces career changes, also attracts a lot of creatives and people with unusual parts. So I guess the ideal profile might be someone with technical skills, definitely. Yes, but also someone who's resilient, open to new ideas, ready to grow with the team. And that's definitely good news for like international talent. At Berlin Partner, I guess we often say Berlin doesn't hire just for skills, it hires for potential. So we've seen international candidates succeed even if a German isn't perfect, for the background isn't that typical. So if you show motivation, flexibility, willingness to integrate into the work culture, then definitely you will find a lot of opportunities in Berlin. And just a fun fact, maybe to add, around 20% of new hires in Berlin are already internationals. And this is a city definitely for global talent. So it's not the exception here. It's more or less the norm.
Wow, 20% now.
To add on that international topic, more than each fourth of the students in Berlin's university is from abroad. So it's not only the workforce coming to the city of Berlin, but it's also the students and graduates doing their masters and bachelors here, and also young researchers doing their PhDs and postdocs here. So it's quite attractive to a lot of internationals.
Definitely, Berlin is super attractive to all of us who are looking for something interesting to change sceneries and become resilient. My next question would be, do you have any tips for expats or internationals who are looking for a job here in Berlin, besides the flexibility and being resilient?
Thanks for this question, because this is exactly what Talent Berlin is made for. As I mentioned before, Berlin Partner itself attracts companies. This is our major task, and we focus on that with 95% of our time. But 5% of our resources we put into Talent Berlin to show talents the opportunities in career aspects and to make labor market more transparent. So when we think on different regions like Silicon Valley, or when we think on Stuttgart and Munich, sometimes and mostly people have a picture in mind. This city is related to a certain kind of employer. In Berlin, it's not the way it works. We don't have this single employer affects the whole region. We do have more than 120,000 employers within the city. And to make this anonym mass more transparent, we provide several information on talent.berlin. We provide employers with their stories of new hires, with employees coming from abroad, finding their love or profession or suiting job in Berlin and telling the stories. And so visitors and users of Talent Berlin can have an insight on employers in Berlin in several industries, no matter if it's about craftsman's work or quantum technology, is it about computer science only, a startup, or common small, medium-sized enterprise, where most of the people are working. And this is the most critical point when you look on a job market and you look for a job. Sometimes you only look for the big ones that you know and everyone knows, and then the competition is high. So when we talk about the hugest and largest employers in Berlin, you can be sure there are 10,000 others that apply as well on those job vacancies at these companies. But if you have a broader range, more focus on also small, medium-sized companies, and we try to make this transparent on our website, then you have better chances to enter the job market, maybe in a small and medium-sized company, which is maybe our market leader in their industry, and maybe not a well-known consumer brand, but doing rocket science and sending satellites to universe. So that's what we try to do, guiding the way, no matter if you are already in Berlin or if you're still abroad and just doing some research about job opportunities in Berlin, you may find some first ideas and approaches on our website.
I'm speechless in a very good way, because sometimes when you arrive in Berlin or you want to come to Berlin, you believe that you're sort of alone, and then you are there. Talent Berlin is there. You're helping not only, as you said, companies, but also people like me, like the people who are listening to us, to just get into the job and try to understand it as well, how the job market works.
First of all, I guess even if a company language is English, and we have a lot of English-speaking companies in Berlin, it definitely helps to learn some German. I mean, you don't have to be fluent. Just being able to read or understand basic workplace communication can really get you a lot more of Berlin. And also it shows a little bit of commitment. And the second thing probably is the strange German CV culture. So it also helps sometimes to adapt a little bit to the German CVs, which are, I mean, we like cover letters still. The German CVs are not reduced to just one page, but rather like 2 pages. So this definitely helps a lot.
Let me get back to that last part of the CVs, because I've had a lot of issues with the CVs, because, as I said, I come from Mexico and I applied to a couple of jobs here in Germany as well. And I also have a lot of the American culture, which is very different. So maybe can you break it down a little bit? Because I know that I have, at least in Mexico and in the US, you have to have just one page. You have to have a profile picture, and and try to summarize everything and put like a lot of data. Like, this is everything that I have done, but in one page.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's very complicated to shrink this down to like several sentences, because I guess the German CV culture is a little bit like the German text system. So it's definitely something you can talk like for hours. But definitely, I would say in Germany, we have this classical approach. So like I mentioned, valuing cover letter is definitely important. And with the CV, normally we have it very complete. Sometimes it's also still usual to put a photo in. So if the company doesn't say don't put a photo in, I would always put a photo on it. And we are using a lot of space for all the data. So definitely we need normally at least like 2 pages for it. And so it helps to prepare a CV in that context, and also use it, especially if it's a German company. Yes.
Rouven, thank you so much for this information. I'm very sure a lot of people are thanking you also, because it's, those are the cultural challenges that you have and you don't know who to ask. I must say, I hate the CV Lebenslauf culture. I hate it because I do not understand it. I hate that every time that I send it somewhere, I basically automatically have a no thank you. And I don't even know why. And basically everything checks, and I would be very good for that. But I hate it. I hate it. I've never had so much trouble in my life getting a job.
You need to know, and you need to make yourself aware that this problem occurs to everyone. That's the same problem to Germans, because there is no rule about a general German common CV. Companies act like this, expect those, request in that way or this way. So the common use CV isn't the state of art anymore, because sometimes you have automatic systems or application tracking systems. You're not able to hand in a PDF with 2 pages or 3 pages CV. You need to type in your CV like a LinkedIn resume. So there is no state of the art general advice someone can give. And it's the same to German graduates coming from school or coming from university. You face the same problems. How to approach this company in the right manner. And sometimes it's really not easy to find a fit and to see from the outer perspective, what kind of culture does this company have and how is the best way to approach it. Some companies may give an advice on their career website stating, hey, just send in your initiatively application to us or whatever. And they are more free in the kind of the form of how you apply. But some companies do rely on these DIN A4 German version. But it's a problem for everyone finally. So really, that's also the advice I gave to a group of 12 internationals yesterday. The access to labor market is for everyone hard who's on this step to the next level. You come from university, will find your first job. You lost your job, you need the next one. You are on this obstacle to overcome. And it's every time a struggle for Germans as well as, and maybe more for internationals, yes, because of this missing knowledge about the common behavior in application process. But you are not alone, finally. That's maybe the most important question, because it affects everyone.
We're back with our dynamic duo, David and Rouven. They're from Talent Berlin, and we were talking a lot of things that is blowing my mind regarding internationals arriving in Germany and specifically in Berlin. And even though David said that a couple of people in Berlin are coming here to find love, we have, as internationals, know that this is almost impossible. But maybe what we can have is a headhunter that can work for us and help us get a job in Berlin. So, David, does actually headhunters work in Berlin?
Definitely, yes. There are a lot of service provider, headhunter, or German long word would be Personaldienstleister. But our advice, or my personal view on that, as we work with those recruiting agencies and headhunters together to place candidates for the companies we attract to Berlin, we know that those service providers can help people find new jobs. They open doors the talent looking for a job could never reach, because they do have a sales office. They do attract companies and try to convince them using their services as a headhunter. And finally, these services are paid by the upcoming employer, by the company itself. So there are no costs for the talents, and you should only work together with headhunting professionals that do not charge the talent for those services. And finally, it's a kind of a win-win situation for both. The recruiter can only work to the company having a good filled pool of talents. And you as a talent, you got qualifications with you, you have job experience, you have kind of an idea where to work and what to do and what you would like to do in your next job. And you just easily discuss that with the headhunter. And this might be a solution that helps more than double-checking job platforms every day looking for a posted job advertisement. Having in mind that only 1 out of 3 open jobs are published. So the bigger part of the labor market is invisible, because it's a job offered by a small and medium-sized company that has not the resources to pay a fee to a job platform that charges a big fee for placing a job ad online. So they have not the resources to have a really attractive marketing campaign to approach talents. So you don't see the company and you don't see the job that the company is offering. And sometimes those companies work together with recruiting providers saying, hey, you can do research for a talent. I will pay you a fee for successful placement. And that's the deal. Fine. But you never see a job advertisement on the well-known job boards out there. So that's also part of the problem when approaching or when doing job search and approaching the labor market. Not all of those jobs are really to find and published. And that's an argument more to work together with recruiting companies, with service providers, because they can open much more doors you will ever see.
David, thank you so much for this answer. And Rouven, how can we find what you're doing? What is the website? How can we get in touch with you?
Yeah, our website is Talent Berlin. You will find a lot of information over there. And the good thing is almost everything is also available in English. So what makes it much more easier to get your first start? I mean, it's interesting because sometimes, especially internationals, tend to be over preparing. And I mean, Berlin is a city which sometimes offers surprises. So you can have a look at our website and try to tackle everything that will come to you. But on the other hand, sometimes I think it's the best way just to start.
I may add on that. The major resource is, of course, talent.berlin. We provide several information for how to live here, find information about kindergarten, schooling system, whatever it is. What we sadly can't do, whether Rouven or me, we are not available for individual consulting as we only support companies. But what we would like to motivate everyone who is in need of support. When you are in Berlin, visit the Welcome Center, Willkommenszentrum. Use the services of the Federal Employment Agency. I've learned, and that would be maybe a question I would have to internationals, that sometimes there are prejudice about governmental institutions. And I would like to invite everyone, hey, don't have any fear to get in touch with Federal Employment Agency. It's made to help you finding the next job, and get in touch with them. And of course, it's a one-on-one thing. You need to be fine with your advisor, with your officer. But in the end, this is the largest service provider in Germany, and it's paid by all of our tax money, and it's there to help. And that's why the invitation would go out. Use these services because it's a one-on-one service that is easily to access.
So we're back with David and Rouven for this last couple of minutes with them. We have had a lot of information and inside information to arrive in Germany, in Berlin, and of course going into their website and not be afraid of the government. That is something definitely internationals worth asking, and maybe a couple of answers we will get from them. But what are the tips and advices you would give to expats and internationals to help them get started in Berlin a little bit more smoothly?
Yeah, I guess one of the most underestimated keys to a smooth start in Berlin definitely is building social networks early. I mean, the job market, housing opportunities, leisure tips, those things often circulate through personal connections. And the other tip is, I guess, don't wait for perfection. I mean, sure, there are some things that have to be prepared accordingly, like the type of visa requirements. But many international professionals really spend months over preparing. I mean, Berlin definitely rewards people who just start, who apply, who connect, who attend events and meetups here. I mean, there's a huge community of newcomers here, and platforms like our website, Talent Berlin, for example, they can help you navigating everything from finding jobs, getting your health insurance sorted and everything. So the tip is definitely take initiative, even if you are not 100% ready yet. I mean, we have a lot of expat groups, for example, those meetups. You can sign up for language tandems, which really helps learning a little bit of German. Berlin really can feel a bit fragmented, I would say, at first. But once you find your community, whether through work, sports, culture, the city definitely becomes incredibly welcoming. Another important point I want to mention is don't hesitate to ask for help. I mean, Germans can seem reserved at first, but they are often very, very supportive once a connection is made. So there are also a lot of free or low barrier services in Berlin. I mean, from career counseling to tenant associations, our platform. So the short version, definitely be proactive, stay connected, and give Berlin a bit of time, I guess. So it's not always easy at first, especially in winter, but it's absolutely worth it. And a last fun fact, I mean, each year, nearly 190,000 persons come to Berlin. So that's over 500 newcomers every day. So many of them are international professionals. So if you're thinking of relocating, you are in a good company. Berlin thrives on fresh perspectives, definitely.
That's a great and fresh perspective also to hear from a German, even though everybody struggles a little bit with the winter, um, even the Germans. So that is a fact. You're not alone. We all hate the winter. And we do not understand why we're in the middle of June and there's still a raining season and then it's cold and then it's warm again. We do not understand it. Well, the thing is, we do need to know how to ask questions and try to explain the Selbstverständlichkeiten. So this is something that we do on a weekly basis here. But before we leave you, dear Rouven, dear David, is there something else you would like to add so people can feel a little bit maybe at ease that they have chosen Berlin as their Wahlheimat, or to improve that mood that everybody wants to come to Berlin?
From our perspective, everyone is welcome because Berlin is still the city of freedom and it's still a place for everyone. So it doesn't matter where you are or where you're coming from, who you are, who you love. And that's still maybe not a unique selling proposition of Berlin as a city and a metropolis, but it's still the most international city and the most lovely city, even if it seems hard sometimes. And the Berliners are not that easy to catch. But it's worth to be here. You get a lot of opportunities. You need to find them. That might be hard, but we provide you some support of that, and we discussed that before. But keep your head up. It's not a personal thing if you got rejections. It's not a personal thing when you feel alone, but you aren't. And there is help outside. Use it. And maybe the last advice from my side. The most craziest thing I ever heard is to get included in this German or Berlin society was a Brazilian spouse of a software engineer that took part on a German choir singing Chinese songs with no one speaking fluent Chinese in this group of choir. So everyone was in kind of a really scary situation singing Chinese songs. And so they get to know each other and were a group, helped each other, surviving winter, surviving maybe career change periods, whatever. But you need to be part of this society. And for that, you need to make one of the steps into society proactively, as Rouven mentioned. But everyone is welcome. So that's the final message.
Rouven?
I mean, I can only say definitely it's been a real pleasure to share some insights about working and living in Berlin. As the talent team of Berlin Partner, we truly believe that international minds make our cities stronger, more innovative, and also more vibrant. So if you are thinking about taking that step, whether it's moving to Berlin, switching careers, or starting something new, don't wait for the perfect moment. Berlin is a city that grows with you. Remember, you are not alone. And therefore, see you soon in Berlin.
That's a lovely wrap up. I just want to add real quick that for everybody who is in this migration process, that it's not always the easiest part. And one thing you have to really consider is the fact that you're arriving in a new place. So you're not only learning a new language, you're learning how to live in another culture, in another environment. Your body is also changing a lot because the food that you're eating at the moment is very different from the hometown. So your brain is like adapting as well. So you might go into a lot of moments where you need to sleep more. You're kind of a new baby, getting so much new information that you have to let your brain get into that and then just give yourself the time to adapt, because there's so much things happening at the same moment and you're educating yourself and you're getting that information, and you need to give yourself the time to get to that part. So it's not only Berlin, it's not only the winter, it's the fact that you're migrating, and this migration process is very complicated. So be gentle to yourself and try also to see that if you're in a low point, it is okay. It happens, and it happens maybe at the beginning a lot more, but my point is it will get better. You will master this better But at the moment, if whatever your migration process is, just remember the fact that everything around you is new and you're adapting to it. So be subtle to yourself, be gentle with yourself. And at the moment, enjoy Berlin, go outside, even if it's raining, find a nice coffee place. And if tomorrow the sun is shining, go and be outside and shine also with the sun. Guys, thank you so much for being with us today. It was lovely. It was such a fun conversation. And I really hope we can talk again in a couple of more months and maybe before our 100th episode, you can be with us. And of course, we would love to see you in a small event we're going to be making for our 50th episode. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, 50 episodes of Expat Berlin. That's 50 chances to laugh, learn, and feel a little less alone in this crazy city. You've built something special? Congrats and keep the mic hot. Send your questions to us if you want real-life answers. #AskAGerman.
So my name is Rafraf and I came to Berlin 2 months ago and I was having a hard time to understand the culture and the people and some quirks that are there. And so I came across Plus 49 and it helped me understand a few things by reading up on Ask a German. And congratulations on the 50th episodes. And we are cheering from wherever we are. The stories, the honesty, the voices, it all matters. But let's be real, we actually do love Ask a German. Those segments are actually gold. Finally, a space where we can ask Germans literally anything and learn, laugh, or to be totally surprised. Please follow this podcast. It's actually fun and it will make you feel a little more at home. Congratulations once again.
I have been in Berlin for 3 years and I follow Plus 49. Plus 49's 50 episodes and we're still hooked. Why? Because you made it okay to ask the real questions. We love the Ask a German series. Finally, we can ask a German whatever we want without the awkwardness. From serious stuff to random wonders, it's all been real, funny, and so needed. You've built something smart and special. Here's to 50 and way more to come.
Hi, I'm Hamid and I have been living in Berlin for a while now. And let me tell you something. Berlin is a city where you cannot afford to become an introvert. Making friends, starting conversations, it would be impossible. And it was impossible for me too. But then came Plus 49. This podcast just didn't tell me stories, it made me feel seen. I can say this was a podcast that helped me laugh, learn, and slowly feel like I belonged. So congratulations you guys on 50 episodes. That is 50 powerful moments that made a difference for people like me. And hey, since we are still asking German things, can someone please explain why I get a death stare every time I try to cross a road even when there is no car in sight? Obviously on a red light.
Hey, this is Maurice from 20% Berlin. Congratulations on 50 podcasts. Amazing. One day we'll have that many too. We had a great time on the pod with Sigrid and I hope you have us back soon. Congratulations.
Dear Plus 49, my name is Cece and I want to say a big congratulations on your 50th episode. What a milestone. I must confess, I'm a brand new listener of your show. I only found it on Spotify after my recent first-time trip to Berlin and finding myself needing to learn everything about this fascinating city. And thank goodness have I come to the right place. Each of your episodes leaves me wanting to dive straight into the next one. I love the top news section, which tells me exactly what I would encounter each week if I lived in Berlin. And following that, you have a heartfelt interview and discussion with an immigrant working in all exciting corners of the German economy. I find this section really puts a human face through the telling of real-life stories. Sometimes it could be the struggles we face at the grocery store when we first moved to Berlin, and other times maybe how to navigate the German system and create a successful startup business. If you're an immigrant like me, these stories have either made me feel so proud or secretly shedding a relatable tear in my heart and say, that happened to me too. And lastly, my favorite segment called the Ask a German, where immigrants get their pressing cultural difference questions answered by a German. I mean, what a brilliant idea to get answers straight from the source. I've learned so many useful things from this segment to the point that I'm almost confident enough to say, well, I feel like I can move to Berlin tomorrow, no problem. To wrap up my little voice note here, I want to say a big thank you to the entire Plus 49 team for producing such consistent, high-quality content each week. And I can't wait to keep learning with you. And also a special shout out to my best friend, Nick, who hosted me on my recent trip to Berlin and really helped me fall in love with this great city of Berlin. So thanks, Nick.
That is a wrap up for this week's episode of Plus 49. We're celebrating 50 episodes, and that it's all thanks to you, our amazing listeners. We're so grateful for your support and for being part of this journey. Also, a big thank you to Egon Huschet and everybody at Novalis Medienhaus for making this podcast happen, and to our amazing producer, Marlene Baja. Without her, we probably wouldn't be this far away. We'll be back next week with more voices and ideas from Germany and Berlin's vibrant international scene. Until then, stay safe, stay curious, and keep tuning in. Hasta la próxima.